Good morning, North Alabama. Thank you for tuning in to another episode of North Alabama Law Review presented by Johnson Moore & Weston. I'm your host, Shauna Hill, and this morning we have joining us Mr. Bennett Driggers and Mr. Mickey Gentle. Good morning, gentlemen.
Good morning.
Good morning.
How's everybody today?
So today we're going to talk about a subject that I think will probably resonate to our younger generation a little bit more, and this is going to be AI use, especially in the legal field. To sum it up, please don't, but we're going to go into detail. So we know that you can do AI for pretty much anything. I like using it for family vacations to give me ideas of new things to do in an area I'm unfamiliar with, but you can just use it for pretty much anything these days. So Bennett, I just want to throw this your way first on what are the pitfalls in AI and some of the things that you see that we as a firm have to clean up sometimes.
Well, I'm glad you use it, Shauna, but I'm old school. I haven't used it yet for anything. Am I missing something?
Oh, it saves you time. It gives you hours back of your life if you're using it for brainstorming and need quick answers, then it can give you those quick answers. But I highly recommend not letting it do your job for you.
Yeah, that's what we want to talk about today. I mean, AI is a great tool for certain things. I say that in jest when I said I haven't used it. I've touched it very little, but it can be a great tool, but it can also be a detriment in certain situations. It's only putting out the type of information it's received in the past on certain issues is my understanding, and I'm not an AI expert on how it works, but I know that it can explain general terms and interpret general definitions for legal issues, but as far as it can also help you organize your thoughts and may give you a brief, small understanding of certain issues, but it's not. I don't think it's a good tool in the legal field because there's a lot of other things that we have to look at. One of the things that we have to keep in mind when we're evaluating information and writing letters or briefs is the legal consequences of what's put into those letters or briefs. And also, something AI can't do is give me the tendencies of the judges that we're writing these briefs for. You know, as experienced attorneys, you kind of get an idea on what certain judges are expecting. I haven't tried that with AI yet, but I'm sure it's not going to work. One of the pitfalls, too, is there have been, in here and in other states, attorneys that have been sanctioned for using AI because it placed false information into their documents, and they didn't verify. In fact, at times it's put case law in cases that doesn't really exist. It made it up. So AI is not a replacement for an experienced law firm to handle your legal issues. Sure, it can give you a general information or guidelines, like I said, but it can't think analytically based on experience that you've had with judges or the courtroom or with cases that are similar. And I may be making a lot of internet nerds or whoever works with AI upset here. I'm sorry. I'm not trying to, but there's nothing that can replace the experience and the emotions that are involved in the case or handle that for you like a real-life person. And the other pitfall, I'm sorry, Shauna, let me touch on this one. The other pitfall is, let's say you do decide to go out there and handle your legal matter yourself through AI. Then you get, so to speak, on the wrong end of your case in court, and you get a final order from the judge. Well, who are you going to point a finger at for handling your case wrong? You know, you can't go back to your attorney. You didn't hire one. You going to go sue AI for giving you bad information? No, I'm willing to bet that there's disclaimers that tell you things like that when you're using AI, that they cannot be responsible for the use of the information. So, we're humans. Yes, we make mistakes, but we can help make things right, in ways that you won't be able to yourself if you end up on the wrong end of a legal matter based on your use of AI. That's why we have malpractice insurance. We are humans. We will make mistakes, but there's somebody there to back you up in that case that's a live individual that can help you through it and help you handle things. All the time we get clients that will send us an email, and we can tell that they went on the internet and used AI to write that email to us. And no offense to them, some of the questions are legitimate, really good questions, but just be real careful.
I think one of the important things that you pointed out is that AI doesn't replace experience. AI is just going to do a Google search just in a split second instead of you spending a lot of time doing it yourself. But it's going to spit out just generic results that it finds based on its internet searching. Whereas when it comes to anything of the law, it's very detail oriented. The devil is in the details. So that's where the problems really come into place, especially when you're dealing with, stuff like divorce, trying to create your own divorce documents, or even your own corporation documents. And even some of these quick template, pay us, we'll do your documents really quickly. They're using generic templates and not detailed information that really matters when it comes down to getting into any kind of legal trouble or legal help that you may need in the future. Especially if you're running business, there's probably going to come a time at a point that you're going to need some legal help. That's why business is required to have insurance in case that ever happens.
Well, and that's one of the things, Shauna, that AI is not totally new, but it's fairly young in terms of having a system out there that can gather and answer questions and, be that artificial intelligence. And so, good information in, good information out. And that's the next thing I want to touch on. When you put information on the internet and these AI questions, it is saved. And if you put personal information on there, guess what you just did? Placed your personal information on the internet along with maybe even your entire personal problem, maybe even some facts about your potential case that can be used against you should it go to trial. So tons and tons of pitfalls to be aware of. AI has its place. I'm not against it. It has its place. And I'm sure over time, the longer it's out there, the better the platform is going to be to gather and disseminate and write and all that. But I want somebody to talk to in person, not artificial intelligence, to make sure that, I can get answers from experience and things like that. And I know I've harped on that a little bit, but I'll be quiet now and let Shauna move on with what's next.
Bennett, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think one of the main areas that we see AI being used is in business formation, business documents, operating agreements, things like that, which is really great to educate yourself and have a general idea. But we run into a lot of cleanup work when it comes to a company dealing with legal problems after they have used AI to help generate their documents. So Ben, if you don't mind, can you kind of let our viewers know some of the pitfalls that we see and to look out for when using AI, and just one of the reasons why I definitely come into an attorney to have that done for you.
Well, especially when you're trying to formulate business documents to use in your business. And I'm not talking about just your operating agreement or forming your LLC or your corporation or your partnership agreement. I'm talking about possible contracts for your subcontractors to sign, or contracts for your customers to sign, and things like that. It may be a great start and may provide a lot of information, but by all means, before you just print it off of the internet and start using it, at least take the time to have an attorney evaluate it, especially when there could be local laws and procedures involved that AI might not pick up on. Especially, I spoke of it earlier in the very beginning, that AI has been known to create its own thoughts on things, as far as the case law I referred to that was made up. The case didn't exist. Created a name for the case and an opposing party and the information in it. So that's why it's so important, because it's not going to absolutely understand all the intricacies of a contract and everything, especially for local customs, local laws, procedures, and things like that. So we're glad to review a document, even if you created it with AI, and just to make sure it's going to do what you expect it to do. The other thing about being in business for yourself is, we've got, I've been in business for over 40 years, telling you how old I am now, but and there are a lot of pitfalls to being in business for yourself, that a lot of things you can put in place that you can call on that experience from an attorney or a law firm who's been there, done that, or you can depend on AI to kind of guess on proper policies and procedures to set up for your employees, or whatever it may be, and then find yourself in a lot of legal trouble later on because it didn't cover certain items. So that's kind of the pitfalls when you're using it for business purposes or any purpose. Again, I'm not being negative on technology at all, folks, but there are pitfalls, especially when the technology is so new.
And I think, how you mentioned is, you put in the information and it spits it out, and it could, some of it could be inaccurate information. Like you said, it spits out false case laws. But not only that, but we know AI, it's only going to spit out what you tell it to do. So even though you can have it create an agreement, and the agreement can look pretty good, it may not cover everything because you don't know that you need to tell AI to put it in there. Whereas, attorneys, we know to put it in there, we know to cover it, we know all the pitfalls to look for, we know how to protect you to the fullest.
And we know what not to put in there,
yes.
As I said earlier.
Mickey, do you see any AI use other than business? Like, what are the main areas that you have seen AI use?
Of course, my practice is a lot of family law and probate law and appeals. And so certainly AI could be used, especially in appellate work. And it can be helpful, but it goes back to what Ben alluded to, that you got to be careful with that. Because if you're not careful with that, then the AI can spit out, like he said, a fictitious case. And so it would behoove the person to either do the legal research as we are trained in law school, if we're talking about a lawyer doing this, or at least go back and verify what it says. But at the same time, there are certain things, like in an uncontested divorce situation, between two different uncontested divorces, there may be a lot of factual similarities there in terms of how long the couple has been married, how many children they have, what their incomes are, and things like that. And so there would be some similarities there, but there are certain things that might be unique to the particular situation, like the work schedule of one parent as opposed to a parent in the other case, that would make the visitation schedule very different. And so that is something that the lawyer can do for you in knowing how to word the particular agreement to cover the situation in each case on how the custody is supposed to be done, how much child support is supposed to be paid, and at what times would the visiting parent have the visitation with the children. And so that's the biggest thing I can suggest about the AI is that it does not necessarily allow for the consideration of something that is unique to the particular case.
Well, I think that crosses over into one of the other areas, Mickey, that you practice is the probate side and the estate planning side, because, you know, yeah, you can probably go out there and say, hey, AI spit me out a will, but is it going to be what you need or what you want or what you expect to happen to your estate? AI is not going to give you practical tips on how to avoid probate in Alabama. It might give you some, but again, let me say this: the probate courts in Alabama, the judges have guidelines to follow, but you can have the same situation in two different counties and get two very different rulings from a probate court. And you might say, well, that can happen in other areas too. And it can, but the probate code is very specific on certain things with distribution of property and all that. So it's just one of those things where, yes, you can create just about any kind of document you want, but AI is not going to be able to sit down and explain the pitfalls of certain ways you want to distribute your property or how to set up your estate to avoid probate or anything like that, or how to give you general ideas. AI can also, you might have a general idea of, one of the questions I ask in my consults when people come in for estate planning is, well, what is it, what do you expect from your estate plan? What do you want to happen? What is your goal with your estate? And a lot of people don't know. They haven't thought that far ahead. They just heard, I need to make an estate plan. So then we talk about the things that you can do to avoid probate, or how to set up property so it doesn't have to go through the estate process, or how to set up bank accounts so they don't have to go through the estate process. Again, no offense, but good luck getting that kind of information from an AI system unless you know the specific questions to ask and put in. You're going to miss a bunch of stuff on how to avoid the pitfalls of your estate and your planning for the future for your family.
I'm glad you brought up probate and estate planning, because we do offer we do seminars every so often to bring people in and talk and provide this information for free. So I know we're going to be having one coming up soon. So please check our social media for that. Look out for that seminar. But one of the things I want to talk about when it comes to AI and probate is trying to get AI to do a will for you. We know that AI is going to miss some stuff, but correct me if I'm wrong, but wills have to have certain wording, certain guidelines it has to follow, or else it's argumentative or not admissible. Do you want to touch base on wills a little bit in AI, and just there's some things that AI could miss when it comes to wills?
I think there's a good bit of things myself in terms of listing the assets that need to be distributed, and who gets what at the death of the person writing the will. How that gets distributed, and how anything that's not covered would be distributed. Because if it's not covered in the will, there is a mechanism by which the distribution is determined. And I'm not so sure that AI could pick up on that and put that in a will. I've had people myself that have told me how they want their will written, and when they come in to sign it, they say, "Hey, I forgot to tell you this. How is that going to be covered if I don't do anything to this will?" and I have to explain that. Now, that's a situation where AI wasn't even used, and they think about that later on. Now, even if they are pondering that using AI, is AI going to pick up on that? And you know, maybe in some occasions it will, and other occasions it will not. You know, would the will in question be in compliance with Alabama law to be able to have a line there for two witnesses to sign, or is that something that AI wouldn't pick up on, and a lawyer would have to go back and add that? So I think there's a lot of things that a person may not think of to put into AI, or that AI might even not think of to put in there as it's answering the questions that the person puts in.
And again, that's where experience comes in. We've dealt with so many estate planning clients that we've got experience. We kind of see there's clients that reminded us over the years as we've been doing this of things that, you know, we can put in wills that we didn't think of. I mean, because it's, you know, it's just one of those things. Experience cannot be replaced. The other thing that I don't think I touched on yet is when you sit down and talk to your attorney, that's confidential. It's attorney-client privilege. That is confidential information. When you put it on the internet, you know, it
goes on the internet, stays on the internet.
It stays on the internet forever. So it's not confidential. You can ask questions that remain confidential. If you have a certain person that you want to make accommodations for in your estate planning, and you don't want anybody to know but you and your attorney, well, that's where that stays. If you put that type of information on the internet, good luck keeping it private. So that's one of the biggest pitfalls, is there's no confidentiality with your information. And if you think there is, you know, go do a search and this week and go back next week and see if you can find the information you put in, because it's there, or the answer you got from AI. So
I wonder if we can put in information in Wikipedia on my in my edit Wikipedia.
Well, I don't know. I'm not, like I said, I'm not the internet person to talk to, but there are definitely many pitfalls. Pitfalls in using it, and there again, we talked earlier about accountability. And go sue AI because they've messed up your documents. It's going to be a tough uphill battle there. Whereas if you've got an individual or a firm involved, they're going to be able to take accountability and make things right for you.
That's great information, guys. I do want to jump into a couple questions while we have a few minutes left, and this is regarding AI. So the first question is going to be, if I use AI to help me understand my situation, is that okay, or am I putting myself at risk?
I can address that one. Basically, you don't want to put any personal information in. I mean, we've addressed that. But so, you know, speak in third party, if you know what I mean. Just put in, hey, I know a friend who's got this situation, whatever you can do. And tell your phone to turn itself off when it rings on the set. But the point is yeah, you just need to be very generic. And see, that's one of the problems with using AI, is because if you're so generic that you're trying to protect your personal information or your personal situation, you're not going to get a good response. But you don't want to put that information out there in the first place. So can it be used as a basic guide? Yes. Are you putting yourself at risk? Maybe very small if you're just putting in very limited information, but I would say that part's okay, just to kind of get a general feel of your situation. Yeah, but again, no names, no personal information. Joe the Plumber might be a fake name you can use. I know that's been used in campaigns throughout the United States, so use that one.
Well, like we said, the devil is in the details when it comes to the legal field, and the details can be the devil if you use it on AI. So.
Yeah. That's a new phrase Shauna just created for the world.
Live on air. Well, Mickey, I'm going to direct the next question to you. So AI, we like to think we can rely on it, but as Bennett has mentioned, it can create fake case law. So what happens if AI just spits out something that looks really good? How should we approach that? If it looks really good, can we rely on it, or what should we do, Mickey?
I think one has to be very careful. It kind of goes back to things that we've already mentioned here, because AI can generate things that look good and sound good and seem accurate, but may be incomplete or maybe inapplicable to the particular case. There's something that I alluded to a little bit, and Bennett has alluded to a little bit, in that each case is unique. There are certain things that are unique to the case, even if this case and that case have very factual similarities. There are still certain parts of that case, of both cases, that are unique to the particular case. And so you've got to be able to verify what AI spits out if you're going to use it. And when the issue particularly involves deadlines or financial consequences and your legal rights. And so you do run the risk of, when you've got AI that you're using, in really messing up the case that you have, and maybe even unfixable in some cases.
All right, thank you for that. We got time for one last question, and I kind of want to jump in on this one. The question is, how do I know when my situation has gone beyond what AI can help with? Again, I don't think AI is a tool to use for help in solving a situation. It's a tool to use help in educating yourself on a situation. That's just my stance on it.
Well, and just, again, I hate to harp, but be very careful, because, it can create information that's not true, just like we talked about earlier. So can you rely on it? Most of the time, general information you can rely on and verify. But when it comes to protecting your family, your assets, your business, your livelihood, don't rely on AI. Come see somebody who's been there, done that, can guide you, and keep that information confidential, like we said. We're not here to beat up the greatest technology we have in the world is, the computers and what we've been able to do with it thus far and what can possibly be done going forward. We're here to say proceed with caution when it comes to your personal life and personal information. That's all.
So guys, thank you for joining us today and talking about AI technology in the legal field. If you have any other questions or concerns, please send them to us at legalhelp@JMMT Law Firm, and we'll be happy to answer them on air. Thank you guys, and have a great weekend. We'll see you next week.
Thanks, guys. See you next time.
Thank you.